I stood up for myself to my mother-in-law, and it made everyone upset.
Stand up for what you believe in.
I like that. This is also from our own subreddit.
Ooh.
So hopefully you're listening to us right now. I, 25 female, have been with my significant other, 28 male, for 3 years. We had our son 1 year ago. Ever since I had my son, my mother-in-law has been so overbearing and over-opinionated, and my significant other will not say anything to her. Wow.
Yay.
By the way, this comes from user Mayday Mommy. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit, just like one of our own. When my son was smaller, she would tell us we aren't holding him correctly and that I shouldn't trust what his pediatrician is telling me because she had 2 kids and she knows better. She criticized me for getting my son vaccinated and always makes comments about things I'm doing or not doing. We only see her maybe twice a month, so I usually just bite my tongue and tell her I got this and walk away. But this has been happening for a year now, and I've expressed countless times to my significant other how this makes me feel like she thinks we're incompetent and that I'm constantly on edge around her because I know she will say something to me at some point. Yet, he still hasn't had a conversation with her about it. Yes, I could have said something myself, but I feel like he should be the one addressing her because that is his mother. So, yesterday my mother-in-law came over. My son was napping and she was making food for my significant other, so I decided I would go get my nails done. Before I left, she brought up my school. I'm getting my CNA certification and I'm going back to be an RN. She started to go on about how with the degree I'm going for, I would still be under a nurse, and that was it for me. I just said, okay, I'm gonna go now. I stood up and went to get my shoes to go. My significant other stopped me to tell me how incredibly rude I was being and that it was unacceptable. I think we got a mommy's boy.
I think it's very possible.
Yeah. I told him I was tired of her criticizing me and that I can't take it anymore, so I'm leaving the situation. He wouldn't stop telling me how I was wrong. This is where I went wrong, I think. I went back inside and asked her if I was being rude when I decided to leave. She said no, but she could tell that I was upset with something she had said, and that I always do that to her, and that I need to learn to control myself, and something about that being how parents are. My jaw dropped. I told her that ever since I had my son, she's been overbearing and constantly criticizing me, and she lost it. Said I was being disrespectful, and she stormed out and left. This is what really hurt me. Instead of being by my side, significant other, and trying to step up to tell his mom that she has been this way and we just need to tell her to stop her opinions. My significant other screams at me about how he was going to handle it and that I made things so much worse. I've never seen him that way, and it really broke me. I told him it hurt me, that he could never stand up to her for us, and that he should never treat me that way no matter what. Eventually, he talked to his mom, and he explained to her that she's been crossing boundaries and being too much with her opinions. The fact that we had to get to this point for a significant other to actually be like, honey, you're in the wrong, and he's like, mom, you're in the wrong.
Right.
Wet noodle spine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's a noodle spine here. I get it. It's your mom, and mothers know best, but not in this. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, but it's like when you get to a certain age, though, you can start making some decisions for yourself and have different opinions from your mom.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is where OP was in the right, where, hey, you should have came in a long time ago to tell her to stop doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
She pulled the whole, well, if I'm too much, then I just won't be involved anymore. Ah, she's the victim now.
Oh, man.
And that she's not coming to my son's birthday party on Saturday.
Ah.
This obviously upset us because she is a good grandma and my son deserves that in his life, but I do not deserve the disrespect as a parent. So, am I the a-hole for saying something? And we have a side note. I texted her a very lengthy apology later in the day saying I'm sorry for how things happened and stated the reasons why it boiled up to this and that we still really want her in our son's life, but she needs to respect us as parents. All right, Angie,
Okay.
Where are we at?
We're making some progress. Progress in the terms of standing up to her. I don't know if we've made progress with her reaction yet.
We'll probably find out. We do have an update, but
Yeah.
I mean, the cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah.
Everything's been thrown on the table.
Yep.
In probably the worst way possible because everything escalated and blew up rather than having a civil conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens when this happened to OP, and this happens all the time, is people just let the cup fill until it overflows, and then it's just not it's an ugly mess.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I want to see how the significant other plays in, their role.
Yeah.
Is he going to be, a good partner? a good son? Who is he going to take sides with? I don't know.
Right.
This was the appropriate thing to do,
Yeah.
is text her and be like, hey.
Yeah. It's good that something was said because it has needed to be said for a long time now.
Oh, yes. Do we think, Angie, this is going to resonate well? Do you think mother-in-law is going to take this as like, oh, okay, let's patch this. Let's put a Band-Aid over the boo-boo. We're going to be okay.
Not. Definitely not.
Well, let's find out.
Let's find out.
We have an update. A lot of you have very strong opinions about him, which I've definitely taken into consideration. I will not make excuses for anyone, but he obviously has been conditioned to this behavior his whole life. I don't plan to leave my significant other, but I would be lying if I said I hadn't considered it. Okay. I stand by my boundaries, and the last conversation I had confidently said that he stands by the same boundaries and really understands where the problem lies, finally.
Okay.
Now back to the update. After the initial blow-up, my significant other did not have my back and was texting mother-in-law pictures of my son immediately after she left, just sweeping the situation under the rug and acting as if nothing happened. The worst thing to do.
Great. This is so nice.
He took a side, and it was Mama's side.
Oh, but like
Shocking.
they're supposed to be partners in this co-parenting thing.
Yeah, you saw everything while still not comforting me or helping me through the situation. We argued all night and multiple times over the next couple days and finally came to the conclusion that I didn't deserve any of that and that he was going to lay down boundaries with his mother and make sure she apologizes to me before I see her again. He is the bridge. So obviously mother-in-law shows up to my son's birthday party at our home after saying she wasn't going to because she wasn't getting her way. She walks in my kitchen and acts as if I'm not even there. I immediately get my significant other and tell him he needs to tell her to apologize to me if she plans to stay. The apology went like this. Are you ready, Angie?
I'm so ready, Keon. So are you going to be OP and I'll be the mother-in-law?
You'll be mother-in-law.
Okay.
You start off.
Oh, yeah. Okay. My son wants me to apologize.
I'll stop you right there. Do you want to apologize?
What did I even say?
Do you really feel like nothing you've said or done is wrong?
Oh, I'm sorry for what I said.
I'll take that for today, and we can all enjoy my son's birthday party in peace. But we need to have a conversation in a few days about boundaries.
Come on, guys. That's not a conversation we need to have now. Maybe in a couple of years, no?
We will have a conversation in a couple days about boundaries. Thank you. The party went fine, and she didn't really say or do anything. Thank goodness. Too many witnesses, I guess. Clearly, she has an issue with taking accountability and having healthy conversations. Maybe she should watch OK Storytime.
Good advice for anyone.
And it's trickled into my significant other's life. She tried to plan to come to our house to get my significant other to work on her car a couple days later, and I kind of blew up because they had planned to do this while I was going to be at my class that day. She's avoiding you.
Clearly.
Meaning she would be watching my son while he worked on her car. Normally, that would have been okay, but I will not let them keep sweeping things under the rug and act like she can come around and do whatever she pleases. Yeah, guess what? That's your boundary.
Yeah.
Not your significant other's boundary.
Yeah.
They don't care about your boundaries right now. Until clear boundaries are set and she can give us some respect, I am not okay with her being around me or my son. We argued a bit and finally came to an agreement that before she is allowed to come around our home or my son again, we will be sitting her down and laying out clear boundaries, and my significant other is going to tell her that she cannot treat me the way she has. I feel like it's like the boy who cried wolf kind of thing. You've told him so many times and he's still doing a half-assed job of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared that like even if OP sits the mother-in-law and her husband down like at the same time, like it's not just gonna be her talking to the mother-in-law and setting boundaries. She's gonna have to be like, right,
and he's gonna be like,
yeah,
Mom, you want pictures of the sun?
Right. Like I feel like it's not gonna be as successful as she wants it to be.
Yeah, at this point, do we just take out the significant other, aka mother-in-law's son, and you just have a direct conversation with the mother-in-law?
Well, I think this is probably a good way to go because he's clearly not getting it. Like, he's not accepting OP's boundaries.
Yeah, the fact that you've said it countless times, or these are my boundaries, and please respect them, and he said, no.
Exactly. So I think that it would be good for them to have a conversation in person, like not just with the mom.
Yeah.
And like with the husband as well.
Yeah, let's find out. His perspective, again, OP's significant other, was that he felt like I was trying to cut her out of our lives, which is never my intention. I just don't want to constantly be on edge and have someone micromanaging my parenting. Again, he's not understanding you. He's not listening.
Exactly.
She just needs to be a grandma, not a third parent. And if she has an issue with it, my son and I will not come around, and she won't be allowed at our home. But you are allowed to listen to full episodes with stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's a little bit left of this story. I feel like we've said our piece.
Yeah.
I know this is one of our family members, our community members.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
OP, I feel like we've had stories like this. Your significant other is not respecting you. Your mother-in-law is not respecting you. Clearly, someone here's a mama's boy, and you deserve the respect you want. You are a parent, and again, it's one of those things where you kind of learn through it. You can have some tips and tricks from mother-in-law.
Yeah. Because honestly, like, what you're asking for is not that much.
No, it's
like,
just saying, hey, this is my child.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I want to do with my child.
Yeah, I wonder if she can come at a conversation with a little bit of like sympathy, even if she doesn't feel so strongly, like if she doesn't sympathize too much with the significant other, like if she can come to the significant other and be like, yo, how do you actually feel about this? And it seems like she has.
Yeah.
You know? I wonder how these conversations go, and if it's coming like very strongly, if like, no, this needs to happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like kind of setting boundaries super strong like that. I wonder if you can come from like a softer spot and be like, it's just these little comments that bother me time and time again, and it's really making me anxious.
Yeah. Let's see if we have anything else in the story. This has taken a lot out of me emotionally, and honestly, I was at a breaking point. I wasn't sure if my relationship was going to survive this, but I truly feel like my significant other will stick beside me and we can fix these issues together. I hope so. It's taken a lot of my over-explaining things and feeling like a psycho to get through to him, which is exhausting and not fair to me, but I want things to work for everyone, and I feel it's worth it. I do not have a lot of faith in my mother-in-law receiving these boundaries greatly, but that's beyond my control, and she will be the one missing out. If not, I may or may not have another update after the conversation is had, but for now, this is where I'm at, and I can finally breathe a little bit better. We had not scheduled a day to sit down, but it will be happening very soon. Interesting.
Dun dun dun.
But that is the end of that story.
My mother-in-law lied about something, and it got my husband evicted.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
2 weeks ago, at 2 weeks postpartum, I finally confronted my mother-in-law about her self-absorbed person behavior, and she still refuses to leave her world of delusion. I, 24 female, am happily married to my wonderful husband, 23 male, who I have been with since our teenage years. Myself and his parents got along famously, even for some years being closer than they were with my husband and his brother. Nice. By the way, this comes from Street Sandwich 8202, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. So, when husband and I first ever got together, he mentioned having issues with independence in his household, with examples being him being placed in excessive extracurricular activities that he had no interest in from a very young age, not being given keys to the home until becoming an adult, forcing him to work his entire life around his parents' motives, and not having an open line of communication with his parents where they made authoritarian decisions about their household and family, and him with no explanation or consideration, and not being able to decide how his day went as an adult, or things like what foods he was going to eat. Oh, wow. So they give him no independence at all.
Ugh.
Yikes. I was raised to be the complete opposite and was living by myself from the age of 17. I encouraged him to start taking on responsibilities in his home and daily life to prove himself worthy of independence, starting from doing small things like cooking his own meals, doing his own laundry, and moving out of the room that he shared with his brother into his own room that I eventually helped him decorate with his own personal style to make it feel more like his, which he absolutely loved. I knew it was a red flag when his mother was pissed that he started to do his own laundry and came up with excuses to stop him or sabotage him, even going as far as to stop talking to him for several days. And he was literally just 18, just for doing his own laundry, as though it was some sort of personal attack. But I bit my tongue and wanted to see how it played out. Years flew by, and in 2022, my husband, then boyfriend, and I decided to move in together to the flat that I was living in, where I rented a room off of his dad, and his dad owned the property. We had a discussion with his parents and explained that we would want to rent the whole flat in the hopes that we would get married after that and start our family. And it was perfect because it was just a 4-minute walk from their family home, so we could all stay close to each other. We also agreed that we would spend our own money refurbing the flat and fully fitting a new bathroom as it was in need of a facelift, and ultimately it added value to the property that his father would benefit from. We even added that we would more than likely buy the flat off of his father later down the line, so it would benefit us too. Side note, my father would never ever make me buy property from him and would just gift it to me just to put me and my family at the best place in life possible, but I guess our families are different. Anyway, we had an agreement with his parents and they were cool with it. So we started to work in the flat and actually stripped the bathroom ourselves, did some of the plumbing ourselves, and then got a contractor to fit the new bathroom. Issues, genuine, not fabricated by the contractor, were found along the way, such as insufficient pipework, outdated insulation, etc., and the works for the bathroom, as well as the materials for the refurb and painting of the flat, which we did ourselves too. It all came to just shy of £14,000. This was fine with us as this was meant to be our first family home and we used our savings as planned. Keep in mind, we are 21 years old at this time, so $14K might not be a lot to some, but to us, it was our life savings from our entry-level jobs at the time, so it was a huge deal, haha. Silly us looking back, but we have learned. Anyway, I must backtrack here to get to the crux of this story. During the construction of the bathroom, my father-in-law had to go abroad for a family matter and asked us to stay in his house to look after my mother-in-law as she does not do well on her own. Understandable, as their house was robbed in the past. Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
We agreed to stay as our relationship with her was still great at this time, and the hot water in the flat was on and off intermittently due to the ongoing works, so it was a win-win. During our stay at their house, I heard my mother-in-law one night have an argument with my father-in-law over the phone, and she was left in a mood. She then woke up the next morning, I could hear because my husband's room was right next to hers, at about 5 a.m. It's normal for her, she's an early bird, and she just sat in silence, which is not normal. My husband then came back from the gym about 6:15 and jumped into the shower to get ready for work. Like absolutely clockwork because he's a machine and does this every single day, so his mom knew that this would happen. Whilst he was showering, she banged on the bathroom door and demanded to use the toilet. He then replied saying he would be just 5 minutes as he was just finishing up. And she replied, "The world doesn't revolve around you, and you're so selfish and disrespectful," which is normal for her when she's in a bad mood, TBH. She then stormed back to her room. My husband shrugged it off and then ran back to our room as he forgot his underwear. And as he went to go back to the bathroom to finish off getting ready for work, his mom ran in front of him and locked the door, causing a scene and making him late for work on purpose. There was an effing toilet downstairs, and she could have gone before he came home and whilst he was home. She was taking out her marital problems on him because if she's miserable, everyone has to be miserable. Oh my gosh.
Exhausting.
That's like dealing with a literal child.
Yeah, I was
crazy.
going to say, if there was another bathroom, just go. If you got to go, you got to go. But
yeah, because if you really had to go that bad, you would have found a different bathroom. You've got more options.
yeah, it's so weird.
That's so weird.
Why would you?
Mom, don't do that.
I like that toilet a lot better.
Yeah, I just really like the toilet that you're using.
That's my porcelain throne.
Exactly. The world doesn't revolve around you, but it does around me. So
Ooh.
anyway, that day, hubby left for work and didn't say goodbye to her. Why would he? I stayed in his room that entire day because I did not want to be in the line of fire, and I come from a childhood of physical and get anxious around shouting. Makes sense. The next day came and she was still visibly pissed, and my husband left for work and didn't say good morning to her before he left. I did the exact same because in my eyes, if someone is pissed, you give them space. When we got back to the house that day, she was still in a bad mood and was slamming cupboards, throwing my husband's clothes down the stairs, and throwing his shoes down the hallway. What?
Little toxic baby.
Baby tantrum. That's what's happening.
Ugh.
Baby tantrum.
Yeah, it's the I need the attention. Is something wrong? No. Slams doors,
Yeah, it's
throws
like-
things.
Oh my gosh. One more day went by and the exact same thing happened. She texted me that day saying things like, "I expected more loyalty from you. I opened my home to you and you have disrespected me. I have to ask you to leave my home as you are no longer welcome." What did she do? This is mad because the father-in-law was getting mad at the mother-in-law?
It's definitely something like that, but it's definitely one of those things where if mother-in-law does not get her way in any shape, way, or form,
Yeah.
everything just goes toxic.
Gosh.
Everything goes red.
Oh my gosh. I was surprised and sent her a reply apologizing for coming across that way and explained my anxiety and said that I respect her decision and would remove my belongings upon my return in a few days, even thanking her for the opportunity to stay in their home. You are so nice, OP. That day, I was already set to stay at my dad's house for a few days to get away from my mother-in-law's energy and to just spend time with my dad. She then said, "You should have just explained this to me. And please ignore what I said. Can we just move forward and forget what I said?" Girl, no, because you said such a crazy thing. You can't just move forward from that.
Again, they don't take any accountability.
Yeah. It's so unpredictable. I replied saying, of course, and that I have no issue at all. So I'm staying at my dad's house for the next 2 days as prearranged, and my husband ends up joining me because he does not want to be in the house with his mom, and she is still mad at him for not saying good morning. Out of the blue, my husband receives a text from his dad, who is abroad, saying that he has to apologize to his mother, show respect by saying good morning, otherwise he has to move out of their family home. My husband is on his last straw by this point, both with his mom and with the disappointment in his father's inability to even ask for his side of the story. He has spent his whole life apologizing to his mother for things that he hasn't even done, even apologizing for things that his father has done, like breaking a vase when his dad has made him take the blame to avoid being bullied by his wife. Wow, so you're gonna make your kid be bullied then?
I feel bad for OP's partner.
For real?
He's
Oh my
definitely,
gosh.
the traumatized childhood.
Yeah. Holy crap. So he decided to not apologize and tried to explain his perspective to his dad and said that he would move out of their house out of respect for their rules. For lack of a better term, when it's really just blackmail from a flying monkey doing his mother's bidding. So we go back to their house after our stay at my dad's and remove my stuff and just enough clothes for my husband for the next couple of weeks until the flat was done and he could fully move his things out of their house and into our new would-be home. His dad lands back in the country the next day, and hubby receives a new text from his dad saying that unless he apologizes to his mom, he is not permitted to live in that flat.
Why?
Well, aren't they moving anyway?
Why? Yeah,
Like-
wait, what? I need some context.
Yeah, because the flat that OP and her partner are living in was leased from the dad. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Okay, yeah.
But they paid for it, though, too. So, what?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things like they'll hold anything over your head. Like even just like the smallest thing
Yeah.
for OP's husband, they'll hold over his head
Yeah.
and
Just to try to get
just
what
to
they
have
want.
like a little leash on him, which
Exactly.
is the worst.
Oh my gosh. We were absolutely shocked, mortified even. We knew regardless we would be fine as we are quite the resilient pair, but shocked at how this escalated and how his dad could go back on his agreement to let us rent the flat, knowing that we spent our savings on trying to build a life for ourselves. So days go by of my husband trying to have a conversation with his parents, both via text and in person. In person, they didn't look him in the eye and actually turned their backs towards him and refused to look at him unless he said good morning to his mother. He still said it to his dad, but his dad was a flying monkey and was being used as a pawn, so he didn't turn around because mother-in-law wasn't greeted with a good morning. So we were left with a decision. Hubby to cave and say good morning, apologize, and live the rest of his life under their thumb, never feeling like we would be safe living in a flat that his dad owned, knowing that we could be punted out on a whim. We could say goodbye to the flat and the possibility of our family home and have our integrity and peace of mind renting from someone we didn't know through an agency. We chose option 2.
Thank goodness. Sorry. Thank
There you go.
goodness.
Hoping that things would settle over time with his parents and that they could have a better relationship without the power dynamic over his head. A relationship based on mutual respect. How silly of us. So we moved out. AKA we're homeless for a month as we didn't have enough money for a deposit for a new flat and first month's rent. Sofa surfed until the next paycheck when we immediately moved into a new apartment that we could barely afford, but it was one of the only ones available at the time. During this process, I sent his father an email confirming that he breached our agreement and provided a detailed breakdown of expenditure on the flat with receipts and asked for either a full reimbursement, partial reimbursement, or a payment plan that suited him, or an opportunity to discuss the matter and come to a solution that suited us both to prevent putting him under unnecessary financial strain. His dad replied saying he has no intention of paying anything as He didn't ask us to spend any money. I replied, explaining that we only spent money on the premise of our agreement to move in. It was a whole load of back and forth. My background is in the property industry, by the way, and I had a legal card up my sleeve as my father-in-law breached several health and safety laws whilst renting out that flat. And I knew I could have easily taken him to court and won using an RRO, which is a rent repayment order in the UK. Which means that I could receive every penny of rent that I paid for the duration I lived there, and so could my housemates. This amount would have come to £32,000, which is over double the amount that we spent on the flat. Wow.
I would have done it.
Wow.
I would have done it, especially.
Listen.
Well, I would have given the warning. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
we have some legal things, and I'm in the industry. If you don't follow this, I'm just going to do
You're
it.
screwed, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get why it's double the amount that we spent on the flat. I thought it said like we receive every penny of rent that I paid, but then it's double. But maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll move on.
Yeah.
Hubby and I lamented over this, but after weeks of thinking, we decided to let the money go and not pursue legal action.
No, why?
To charge the lesson to life experience and lay our heads down at night, knowing that we have been far better humans than his parents in this situation. To this day, they don't even know the favor we did them. Anyway, over the next couple of months, it was hard, man. It was hubby's first time living outside of his childhood home, paying bills, splitting chores with a significant other, and just generally feeling the weight of real life responsibility as an adult. We moved to an area of London completely foreign to him, where there were barely any people who looked like him, and far from his friends, stripped of his culture. He's also now lost his perception of his great parents, and his brother, who was his best friend, hasn't spoken to him because of everything. He still lives in the family home. Mentally, I was okay, as I've been through things in the past growing up, and I've lived alone for a long time, so I had fortitude in that regard. But husband took it hard, and we struggled in our relationship, and honestly very nearly separated because of the financial stress. But it made us so much stronger, and now fast forward to 2025, we are happily married and have a newborn, and are so immensely happy, in love, grateful and appreciative of our strength and support for one another. Truly best friends and our biggest allies in life. Yay!
Heck yeah.
So exciting.
Congrats.
Between us moving out in 2022 to today, it went from his parents messaging him in the early days saying that their house will always be his home, and sending messages like, "Happy Sunday. How was your day? I just had surgery. You need to move on. I don't even remember what happened as I was on medication back then," etc., etc. He started out so strong with those. To my husband blocking them because he became infuriated by the lack of apology for what they put him through and how they acted so carelessly and were trying to talk to him as though nothing happened. To his mom trying to send him money whilst being blocked with no context. He sent the money back immediately and told his dad, "I'm sending this back because I don't know what it's for," alluding to the fact that if it's not an apology or an acknowledgement of wrongdoing, he doesn't want it because it's just a payoff. It was £500, which I'm sorry, it's effing laughable in the face of $14,000. In late 2024, he started to rebuild a relationship with his dad with the idea that his mother was the sole issue, so he could tolerate his dad. They slowly started to speak about what transpired, and hubby explained that he was disappointed in his father as a man and lost some respect for him due to how poorly he managed the situation, and reminded him that despite him being his wife's husband, he's also his father and owes it to his children to be impartial. We believe the mother has emotional blackmail against the father as they had issues in the past, but I digress. Have a backbone. Hubby asked his dad if he knew what happened the day of the bathroom incident, and his dad said, "Your mom told me that she was in the bathroom and that she left for a moment, and you ran in, and when she tried to get back in, you slammed the door in her face."
Ah.
What? That is not at all what happened.
This should have been asked way earlier, but whatever.
So long ago. When I tell you, our jaws effing dropped to the ground when we heard his dad say this over the phone. Hubby told his dad what actually happened and convinced his dad to question his mom about the story. Hubby followed up next week and asked his dad how it went. His dad told him that after he questioned his mom didn't speak to him for 3 whole days, but that you should still show your mom respect, or your mom's your mom. You know what she's like. The good outweighs the bad. We came to the conclusion that his dad was just a victim turned enabler, telling himself the same stuff to help himself feel better. Anyway, hubby went to their family home a week later to hold a family meeting in the hopes that they could move forward as a family on a better note. He asked them not to speak at first and to listen to him say the story from start to finish of what happened on the day of the incident, all the way to the aftermath, including the fact that him, his dad, and his brother now knew that his mother lied and manipulated everyone to make herself seem like the victim. When my husband looked her in the eyes and asked her why she lied, she sat there in silence, huffing and puffing, visibly outraged at the idea that her son, who should owe her the world, the moon, and the stars, would dare confront her, especially in front of others. Classic self-absorbed person. The outcome of that meeting was nothing. They still didn't apologize to my husband, and his mother still didn't take accountability for her actions. He left the meeting saying, I need you to think about what kind of relationship you want with me and my wife and my soon-to-be-born son, and what you need to do to achieve that. But you need to change your behavior to get what you want. Think about it and let me know. Now we get to early 2025, where I'm about 6 months pregnant, and my husband calls his dad to follow up on what was decided, on what relationship they wanted with him. His dad said that he, of course, wants things to go back the way they were, and my husband reiterated that they will never be the same. But whether it's worse or gets better is down to whether they can change their behavior and take ownership. He reminded his dad that we wrote off the $14,000 and only asked for an apology for the hurt and damage that they caused and the years that they sent him back. His dad very callously stated something I personally knew he felt deep down all these years. Something I think my husband knew his dad felt too, but didn't want to accept. His dad said, I've got nothing to feel sorry for. Yikes. Boom. My husband's eyes glaze over in what seemed like both disbelief and acceptance and almost relief and closure. His dad continued in the background of our call, almost berating his son, saying things like, I'd never be in your position because I plan financially. Ugh, I have no words. Fast forward to 5 weeks ago, where I gave birth, which they knew because their other son still lives at their house and talks to us. The mother also follows me on Instagram, which I actually didn't know until last week, and saw my stories of my newborn. Hubby's brother and my overly goodwill parents encouraged hubby and me to let his parents know personally about our new arrival, after which his parents congratulated him and eventually asked to meet our son. By the way, I want to congratulate you on hearing the fact that we have full episodes with more stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Now you know. You can listen to us forever. But there is a little bit more to the story, but what a disappointing story so far.
In a sense, yes, very disappointing, but also uplifting for OP's significant other. Yeah. He's learned, I guess they both have, but especially him, he's learned the hard way. He flew from the nest and spread his wings, and he actually experienced life started off negatively, stressful, almost broke up, but you have to have the lows to really enjoy the highs. So he's enjoying life. He has a family now. OP has a family. It's crazy. And I guess his family sucks. Yeah. That's strenuous.
Exactly. Yeah, that acceptance, I mean, like she said, like, is a bit of a relief in a way. It sucks, but it's the reality of what you got going on.
I can see that he's trying to give them chance and chance and chance over and over again. Yeah. But it's not happening. It's not working, especially for the mother-in-law. She's a real piece of work. Wow.
Yeah. Absolutely. There is a little bit more. His mom also DM'd me separately saying how much she loved us and was so happy and asked me not to block her. I replied with a tough love response, calling out her behavior of manipulation, deceit, and lies, saying that I refuse to have a relationship with her or her husband until my husband receives a well overdue apology, and said that I didn't want to have to be firm, but years of her family being so scared of her and walking on eggshells didn't get them anywhere. I have to say, it felt fantastic. Last week, she employed another flying monkey who messaged my husband congratulating him on his new baby, saying how lucky he is to have such amazing parents to guide and support him. LMAO. It's getting desperate. All they have to do is apologize. Oh my gosh. Wait, I don't understand that. It's just another person?
It's another person, yeah. So I guess the parents maybe got like a cousin or like a friend.
Yeah.
Like
to try to get info about the new baby?
Trying to get info, or just like, kind of put the salt on the wound of like, oh, your parents must have raised you so well.
Oh, I was thinking that they were saying like, I'm so happy that your new son has great parents.
No.
Oh my
no.
gosh.
It's the mother-in-law and father-in-law. Yeah.
It's like, great, actually. I don't think you'd be saying that after you found out what they do to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But that's the end of that story.
Oh, that's it?
That sucks, man.